Welcome to Book Echo, where we break down a book in 15 minutes. Today we're discussing the global bestseller, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Have you ever wondered why humans became the dominant species on Earth? Why can we build skyscrapers, invent smartphones, and explore space, while other animals remain in their primitive state? These questions may seem simple, but the answers are not so obvious. The book we're introducing today, Sapiens, reveals humanity's astonishing journey from the Stone Age to the Information Age. Imagine if we could travel back in time to the African savanna 100,000 years ago. What would we see? Probably a group of creatures that look somewhat like modern humans, chasing antelopes or gathering berries. These are our ancestors, Homo sapiens. At that time, they were just an insignificant link in the food chain, constantly facing the danger of being eaten by lions or tigers. But guess what? This seemingly weak species conquered the entire planet in just a few tens of thousands of years, creating the flourishing civilization we see today. The author, Professor Harari, is no ordinary historian. His brilliance lies in his ability to view human history from a fresh perspective, simplifying complex historical processes into a few key revolutions and presenting them in a vivid and engaging manner. Since its publication in 2014, Sapiens has been translated into 65 languages and sold over 20 million copies worldwide, becoming one of the most influential nonfiction works of the 21st century. You might wonder, why is this book so popular? Well, it's because it doesn't just talk about history. It answers the big questions we all care about. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? By understanding our past, we can better comprehend the present and prepare for the future. Now let's follow in Harari's footsteps and embark on a journey spanning 70,000 years. We'll see how humans transformed from obscure African apes into the rulers of the earth. We'll also consider what we've gained and lost in the process of conquering the world. Finally, we'll discuss what the future might hold for humanity in the face of rapid technological development. Sounds interesting, right? Let's begin this exciting journey of exploration. Now let's dive into the main content of the book. We'll discuss it in 3 parts. Part 1, the 3 major revolutions in human history. Harari proposes that 3 major revolutions in human history fundamentally changed our way of life and thinking. These are the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, and the scientific revolution. Let's look at each one. First, the cognitive revolution. About 70,000 years ago, our Homo sapiens ancestors experienced a leap in their nervous system and cognitive abilities. This was the cognitive revolution. What was its most important outcome? The emergence of fictional ability. You might think, what's so great about fictional ability? In fact, this ability is the foundation for the formation and development of human society. Why? Imagine if we didn't have the ability to create fiction. We couldn't believe in the same stories or form common beliefs. Without common beliefs, humans couldn't cooperate on a large scale. Let me give you an example. Imagine a primitive tribal scene. Before the cognitive revolution, humans could only maintain small-scale cooperation based on kinship or direct reciprocity. But after the cognitive revolution, humans could create common myths, religions, and concepts of nations. These fictional stories allowed strangers to unite and work towards common goals. For instance, ancient Egyptians believed that pharaohs were incarnations of gods, and this common belief motivated the entire nation to build pyramids. You see, the impact of the cognitive revolution continues to this day. The concepts we believe in now, money, law, nations, are essentially fictional stories created collectively by humans. These stories allow us to organize vast social systems and achieve unprecedented large-scale cooperation. So, the cognitive revolution is not just an ancient event. It has shaped our way of life today and will determine our future development direction. Next, let's look at the second major revolution, the agricultural revolution. About 12,000 years ago, humans began to transition from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to agricultural production. This change might seem like progress, but do you know that Harari calls it history's biggest fraud? Why? Because although the agricultural revolution increased population numbers, it didn't improve individual quality of life. On the contrary, most farmers' lives were harder and their nutrition poorer than hunter-gatherers. The agricultural revolution was like an inescapable trap. Once people started cultivating crops, the population increased, requiring more food, which in turn required more land to be cultivated, creating a vicious cycle. Farmers had to work harder, and because they relied on a single crop, they faced greater risks. For example, if there was a drought or pest infestation, the entire community could face famine. However, the agricultural revolution also had far-reaching effects. It gave rise to more complex social structures, with ruling and ruled classes emerging. At the same time, to manage increasingly complex agricultural societies, humans invented tools like writing and numerical systems. These tools laid the foundation for later scientific and technological development. You might think that the impact of the agricultural revolution only exists in ancient times. Actually, it continues to this day. Many problems in our modern society, such as wealth disparity and environmental pollution, can be traced back to the agricultural revolution era. Understanding the agricultural revolution helps us better comprehend some fundamental issues in current society and inspires us to think about future development directions. Finally, let's look at the third revolution, the scientific revolution. This revolution began about 500 years ago. Do you know what its core is? It's humans acknowledging their own ignorance. This might sound contradictory, but it's precisely because we acknowledged our ignorance that we began to actively explore the unknown world. The scientific revolution brought unprecedented technological progress and productivity improvements, fundamentally changing the face of human society. A crucial feature of the scientific revolution is that it closely combines theory with practice. Scientists were no longer satisfied with pure speculation but began to verify hypotheses through experiments. This method greatly accelerated the accumulation of knowledge and technological progress. Let me give you an example. In the 17th century, Newton not only proposed the theory of universal gravitation, but also invented the reflecting telescope to verify his theory. This method of combining theory and practice paved the way for later industrial and technological revolutions. The scientific revolution also brought a new worldview, progressivism. People began to believe that through the development of science and technology, human society could continuously progress and life could get better and better. This belief has driven rapid development since modern times, but it has also brought some problems, such as environmental pollution and overexploitation of resources. All right, let's summarize these three revolutions. Understanding these three revolutions is crucial for recognizing the development trajectory of human history. They not only shaped our past, but also profoundly influence our present and future. The cognitive revolution allowed us to create common stories. The agricultural revolution changed our way of life, and the scientific revolution fundamentally changed how we understand and transform the world. The impacts of these three revolutions are cumulative, collectively shaping the world we live in today. Part 2. The forces unifying humanity. After discussing the three major revolutions in human history, Harari turns his attention to a grander theme. What forces have united humanity, forming today's globalized world? He believes that three main forces have been driving human unification: empires, religions, and money. Although these three forces are different in nature, they have all contributed to the integration and unification of human society to varying degrees. Let's first look at the role of empires. Empires, as political entities, bring large areas and numerous ethnicities under unified management through military conquest and cultural assimilation. At first glance, empires might seem to be violent and oppressive entities, but Harari points out that empires actually played an important role in promoting cultural exchange, knowledge dissemination, and economic integration. Let me give you an example. The Roman Empire ruled vast areas around the Mediterranean for centuries. It not only brought peace, the so-called Pax Romana, but also promoted unified legal systems, monetary systems, and road networks. These infrastructures and institutions laid the foundation for later European development. Even after the fall of the Roman Empire, its cultural heritage continued to profoundly influence Europe and the world. You might ask, does the influence of empires only exist in the past? Actually, no. The influence of empires continues to this day. For instance, many modern national borders are legacies of the imperial era. The border between India and Pakistan, for example, was drawn during British imperial rule. Moreover, the linguistic and cultural influences left by empires still exist. The fact that English has become today's global lingua franca owes much to the expansion of the British Empire. Next, let's look at the second force unifying humanity: religion. Religion unites people from different regions and races by providing common beliefs and values. In pre-modern societies, religion was often the main source of people's sense of identity, even more important than state and ethnicity. Let me give you an example. Islam spread from the Arabian Peninsula to Asia, Africa, and Europe in just a few hundred years, creating a large community that transcended race and geography. In the Islamic world, whether Arab, Persian, or Turkish, people identified themselves as Muslims. Islam not only provided a common faith, but also brought a common lifestyle, legal system, Islamic law, and cultural tradition. The unifying effect of religion still exists today. Although there's a clear trend towards secularization, religion remains an important part of many people's identity. In some regions, religion can even evoke a stronger sense of identity than the state. Understanding the role of religion is crucial for understanding many conflicts and contradictions in today's world. Finally, let's look at the third force unifying humanity: money. Unlike empires and religions, money is a more abstract and universal force. It transcends cultural and belief boundaries, becoming an object of faith common to all humanity. Harari points out that money is essentially a collective imagination, one of humanity's most successful fictional stories. Imagine how global trade and economic cooperation would work without a common belief in money. A Chinese merchant and a Brazilian merchant might not speak the same language or share the same culture, but as long as they both believe in the value of the US dollar, they can conduct transactions. Money creates a trust mechanism that transcends culture and national borders, greatly promoting global economic integration. The power of money is particularly evident in modern society. Multinational corporations, global financial markets, international trade organizations, etc., are all built on the common belief in money. It can even be said that today's globalization process is largely driven by the power of money. Let's summarize this part. Understanding these three forces unifying humanity is very important for recognizing the pattern and trend of today's world. They don't exist in isolation, but are intertwined and influence each other. For example, modern capitalism can be seen as a product of the combination of monetary power and imperialist expansion. Also, some religious organizations today are using the power of money to expand their influence. In today's globalized world, these three forces are still at work, but their forms and ways of influence are constantly changing. Empires may no longer exist in traditional forms, but concepts like cultural imperialism and economic imperialism still exist. Religion may be declining in some places, but is reviving in others. The power of money seems stronger than ever, even giving rise to new religions like consumerism. Understanding these forces helps us better grasp the development trends of the world and find our own place in this complex world. At the same time, it reminds us that the unification of human society is a long and complex process, bringing both progress and new problems and challenges. Part 3. The Future of Humanity. After outlining the main threads of human history, Harari turns his gaze to the future in the final part of the book. He raises some thought-provoking questions. What will the future of humanity be like? What kind of world are we creating? These questions involve not only technological development, but also the essence of human nature and the direction of human civilization. Harari points out that with the development of technology, humans are gaining unprecedented power. We can transform the environment and even ourselves. But have you thought about it? This power also brings enormous responsibilities and challenges. For example, we are now facing a serious ecological crisis. Problems like global warming and loss of biodiversity are all caused by human activities. So how can we pursue development while protecting the Earth's ecosystem? This is a big challenge that all of humanity needs to face together. Another interesting question is, has technological development really made humans happier? Harari suggests that although modern society has made great progress in material life, humans have not become happier. On the contrary, psychological problems like anxiety and depression have become increasingly common in modern society. Have you ever wondered why this is? Harari believes this is partly because human expectations are always growing. Think about it. When our basic needs are met, we pursue higher-level needs. This itself is not a problem, but the problem is that we are often troubled by expectations shaped by society and culture. For example, under the influence of consumerist culture, we might excessively pursue material enjoyment while neglecting things that can bring lasting happiness, such as intimate relationships and self-realization. Facing this challenge, Harari suggests that we need to re-examine our values and lifestyles. He proposes that perhaps we need to seek answers from ancient philosophical and religious wisdom. For instance, the mindfulness and meditation emphasized by Buddhism might help alleviate modern people's anxiety. This view actually coincides with some findings in contemporary psychology. For example, mindfulness meditation has been proven to effectively reduce stress and increase happiness. Harari also discusses the more profound impacts that technological development might bring. He points out that with the progress of biotechnology, humans might have the ability to modify their own genes. This sounds impressive, but it also brings a series of ethical issues. Should we use this technology? If we use it, to what extent should we use it? These questions concern not only personal choices, but also the future of the entire human race. Let me give you an example. If we can eliminate certain genetic diseases through gene editing, would it be irresponsible not to do so? But if we allow the use of this technology, how do we prevent it from being abused, such as being used to create designer babies? These are questions we need to think about carefully. Harari reminds us that in face of these challenges, we need to rethink what human nature is and what human rights are. With the development of technology, humans might face unprecedented choices. How do we embrace the possibilities brought by technology while maintaining human dignity? This is a big question that all of humanity needs to face and think about together. At the end of the book, Harari doesn't give clear answers. Instead, he encourages each of us to think about these questions ourselves. He believes that understanding our past and thinking about our future is itself a very meaningful process. Through this process, we can better understand ourselves and the world we live in, and thus make wiser choices. Harari's open-ended conclusion also reflects his caution as a historian. He believes that historical development is often full of surprises, and we shouldn't be too confident in predicting the future. Instead, we should maintain an open and vigilant attitude, always ready to deal with various possible situations. All right, that's all for this book. Let's summarize. Sapiens provides us with a new perspective to look at human history and future. By narrating the three major turning points, the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, and the scientific revolution, Harari helps us understand how human society has developed to this stage. He points out that the key to humans dominating the earth lies in our ability to create and believe in common fictional stories. This ability allows us to cooperate on a large scale and establish complex social structures. Harari also discusses the three forces unifying humanity: empires, religions, and money, helping us understand the historical roots of globalization. Although these three forces are different in nature, they all push for the integration and unification of human society, shaping today's world pattern. In looking to the future, Harari raises a series of profound questions. He reminds us that technological development brings both opportunities and challenges. We need to think carefully about how to use these new technologies, how to protect the ecological environment while developing, and how to pursue true happiness while making material progress. The value of Sapiens lies not only in its outline of human history, but also in its inspiration for us to think about current issues from a grander, longer-term perspective. Whether it's reflection on personal life or the formulation of social policies, this book provides a valuable thinking framework. In this era of accelerating change, understanding where we come from and thinking about where we are going becomes particularly important. Sapiens provides us with a good starting point, allowing us to stand on the shoulders of history and view our past, present, and future with a broader vision. The impact of this book is significant. It has sparked more discussions about the future of humanity. For example, in Homo Deus, Harari further explores the potential impacts of artificial intelligence and biotechnology. In 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, he more specifically discusses how to deal with current and future challenges. These discussions not only enrich our imagination of the future, but also provide new perspectives for thinking about current issues. Overall, Sapiens is a very inspiring book. It not only makes us re-recognize human history, but also makes us start thinking more deeply about the future of humanity. In this era full of uncertainties, such thinking is undoubtedly extremely important. That's all for today's interpretation. I hope this explanation gives you a deeper understanding of Sapiens. If you find it helpful, you might want to read the original book. I believe you'll have more insights. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.